Mark chapter 15 verses 16 to 20. Then the soldiers led him away into the hall called Praetorium, and they called together the whole garrison. And they clothed him with purple, and they twisted a crown of thorns, and put it on his head, and began to salute him, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Then they struck him on the head with a reed, and spat on him, and bowing the knee, they worshipped him. And when they had mocked him, they took the purple off him, put his own clothes on him, and led him out to crucify him. Jesus was led into Pilate's headquarters and handed over to the soldiers to be crucified. The entire military regiment, numbering up a few hundred soldiers, were called to participate in the gruesome event. They began to ridicule him, stripping him of his clothes. They dressed him in a purple robe, the color of royalty. In his hands they placed a reed staff, a cruel parody of a ruler's scepter. Then they began to salute him scornfully, "Hail, King of the Jews!" This should have been a title of honor, but instead it was spoken in mockery. Jesus the King should have received their respect and humility, but instead they hit him on the head with a stick, spat on him, and knelt before him in sneering pseudo-worship. When they had finished mocking him, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes back on him, and led him away to be nailed to the cross. Normally, those sentenced to crucifixion were paraded naked in the streets and shamefully beaten as they made their way to the scene of their crucifixion. In Jesus' case, the soldiers probably clothed him because he had already undergone a brutal whipping. Jesus entered Jerusalem as a king and should have received royal honor. But what he was subjected to instead was base humiliation and a vulgar parody of worship. His eternal kingship was ridiculed and rejected, not only by the Gentile occupants of the region, but by his own people as well. Jesus endured this shame and suffering for every generation. And more than 2,000 years later, he is still being rejected by those whose shame and suffering he bore. The King of the universe, the Son of God, did not have to go through this agonizing trial, but he chose to do it to save those who abandoned him. He silently endured those traumatizing moments for us. What grace! We are the recipients of unmerited love. Wouldn't you like to return his love and praise him with a heartfelt gratitude?